Hello and welcome to A Cat in the Garden. One of the lights in my Hoya cabinet just went out this afternoon. I came into the plant room to film this video and it's dead. So there's that. I immediately ordered another one. I had my husband come in, try to fix it. It's dead. So I have half a lit Hoya cabinet right now, but it's fine. Everything's fine. This video, however, is about Anthurium, and I figured today I would talk about some updates with my Anthurium collection because you all seem to enjoy that, and I love that too. I mean, Anthurium have become my second favorite genus behind Hoya because nothing is ever going to top Hoya for me. They are my absolute favorite, but Anthurium are a somewhat close second. I do really enjoy having them around. And this year I've been taking a lot better care of them. I don't think my care was awful before, but they are doing so much better than I think they were the past couple of years. So let's just get to it and let's do some Anthurium updates. I don't know if y'all remember, but I have two Queen Anthuriums. This is my newer one. I got this from Wild Roots this year. I think the last time I was at Wild Roots, I picked this up. It's been so long. I really want to go back soon. It's just hard because there are new Braunfels and I live 2 hours away. So this is what I have as my second queen. It's got a new leaf growing right in the middle here. Nutmeg is off to take his power nap. More power to him. But this one is doing very well. I have fertilized it. I have not repotted it yet. I'm a little scared too because I have a slight feeling I would have need to downsize it perhaps, or I can just let it grow out in here for a while and pot it in the future because it looks small to be in a 4-inch pot, but I'm not mad about it. It's not doing terribly. This leaf is gonna go. It's yellowing, but we have new growth here. So not a crazy update on this one. It's just growing steadily, doing its thing. It lives in my original IKEA soccer greenhouse, just living its best life right now. Speaking of plants that were living in that greenhouse, I have an Anthurium that I thought was dying last time I did a video like this when I showed it to y'all. This is my Magpap hybrid, and it's clearly not dead. It's doing actually very well. It grew this leaf after I stabilized it, after I lost all of its leaves. I grew it back from a stump. It's doing great. It hasn't grown another leaf since, but I feel like it took a lot of energy just to get this leaf out. So I'm gonna let it be, let it do its thing. I am watering it much more frequently now, though I am concerned it may need a repot. I'm just gonna show y'all what's going on under here. That's just a lot of roots. And they're very thick, ramen noodly roots. They're starting to circle on the bottom there. So maybe a repot is in the cards for this one. Maybe I can get it to grow faster if I do that. But either way, it's doing a lot better than it was. I'm very happy with it right now. I'm very proud of it. It is one of the more unique Anthurium in my collection. Maybe it's not the most unique Anthurium out in the world, but when most of mine have thick silvery veins, any Anthurium that looks like this is just going to stand out. So I really like that I'm able to keep it alive, brought it back from the dead, and just overall very happy with how it's doing. Finally, to round out the Anthurium that are living in my soccer greenhouse, I have my favorite one. So this is my Silver Blush crossed with Dock Block F2. Unfortunately, when I went to Connecticut last month, it dropped a few leaves because it got a little thirsty, but it's doing okay. This is the newest leaf. It looks pretty healthy overall. I think this leaf is going to go eventually. It's hanging on for now, but it is a healthy plant, so I can't be mad at it. I understand that a week was a long time to leave a small plant without water, but hey, I'm doing my best. And it forgave me. It did. It forgave me. The leaves are just getting bigger and bigger with each new one. Like I mentioned in the past, I grew this from a very tiny seedling, so I'm very proud with the progress that it has been making, and hopefully next time I do a video like this, it'll be even bigger. Speaking of tiny baby Anthurium, I have a new one. This came from my friend Jacqueline over at Jacqueline's Jungle. I have it living in here for extra humidity, but this is a red crystal crossed with Ace of Spades. It's just an itty bitty baby. It had one leaf when she gave it to me. It put out this new one as soon as I got off the flight home to Texas. So I'm very happy with how it's doing. I'm just gonna put it back in here. It's living in here for now until I decide what I'm going to do with it. This is by far the smallest Anthurium I've ever had, and it's just giving me some really nice experience with growing them from little baby seedlings. I know I've had small seedlings before, but just a one leaf baby was by far the smallest. And maybe if I do well with this one, it will give me the courage to try growing Anthurium from seed myself. I think that'd be a fun challenge one day. I mean, I grow all the plants outside from seed for the most part, so how hard can this be really? I feel like I can do it, but I just need a little bit of a confidence booster, and I think that's what this is giving me. So hopefully soon I'll be able to show off some more growth with this one. We'll get to see the characteristics of the plant, but I'm very excited to have this in my collection, and I hope that it grows up soon. Well, that one was a red crystal cross with Ace of Spades. I have a regular crystallinum cross with Ace of Spades, and I know that may sound similar. They're slightly different. So this one is bigger. It did get beat up a little bit because Nutmeg over there knocked this off of a shelf and just absolutely wrecked it. So this leaf got wrecked, just cleared this right off. This was the new emergent leaf when he did that, and it's just showing the effects of such damage. It is finally growing a new leaf in my care. This one had already started growing when I purchased it, but this is the first full new leaf happening for me. I don't really know why it's wonky, but it's growing, it's happy, you know, it's doing its thing. So I'm hoping that eventually it'll look pretty again. I feel really sad that it was super pretty and then Nutmeg knocked it over. These leaves, while they are thick on most Anthurium, they're very fragile. And that is something I've learned while collecting them, is they really cannot, I mean, they'll handle it and they'll be fine. But if you want them to look really crisp and clean and pretty, you cannot touch these plants. Unless you are just the most gentle, you have the most gentle hands out there and you just don't fiddle with them too much. It's not like a Hoya where you can just grab it, or a philodendron, and like touch the texture. These do not like to be manhandled too much. So I'll typically just grab them from the pots. I'll only really touch the leaves gently, or if there's something going on with them. If they already look damaged like this, then whatever. But if I think I see a bug or something, I'll do that. But other than that, I've learned that it's really best to just leave them alone, or they will look like this. And it's not ugly, and it's got a lot of potential, and it's gonna keep growing, but it's just, it had a little rough period after I first brought it home. Hopefully this leaf signifies that it's doing better now. Maybe I think it could use a repot because it's in this little 3.5 inch pot that I bought it in. So that might help it out some more. I know Anthurium like more space to grow versus a Hoya that likes to be more snug. So I'm sort of juggling that, seeing what the right balance is. It is a different type of plant care from Hoya altogether. It's almost like they're polar opposites, but I love them both so much. And this one is certainly teaching me a lot about that, but I'm hoping this leaf is going to be a pretty one. Next, I have a couple of smaller seedlings from Wild Roots, starting with the Red Crystal crossed with Dock Block F2. This has unfortunately been my slowest growing Anthurium in my whole collection. I'm thinking maybe it just wasn't genetically the best seedling. It's taken a long time to get it to grow at all, and the leaves aren't really sizing up. So that's a bit concerning. Most of my Anthurium size up without a problem, or they grow pretty steadily, but this one just hasn't been the happiest. Maybe a repot would help that out, though the roots look fine from what I can see. They're nice and green and thick, like little ramen roots. There's even a root starting to come out of the bottom. Maybe a repot would help it out, though it just seems so small. It seems like it fits this container, but I can try repotting. Maybe some more fertilizer would help, but I do know that with Anthurium seedlings, you typically want to select for ones where the leaf size goes up with each new leaf. Signs of healthy growth are always a clear indication that that's one that you should get. I purchased this before I knew that, and with every Anthurium, you really don't know the seed-grown ones fully until they start growing. So I'm not really mad that I own this one. It's not the worst. I mean, it does grow. It's got a new leaf growing right here, but it could be better. And maybe in the future I will get another one of this hybrid just to see, but this one has been so slow and so sad. It looks fine, like it's not the end of the world, it's just not as good as I think it could be. I also have my little rehab baby. I don't know if y'all remember, but this is one that actually went back to just this single leaf because I underwatered it so badly. This was my fault entirely. So it had to kind of start over, which is why these leaves are smaller than this one. But I successfully rehabbed it. It was in this super tiny 1 ounce cup. I just repotted it up to this, I think it's 3 or 4 ounce cup. And it grew these 2 leaves since I have rehabbed it. It's doing great. It's got a bunch of new thick roots. I'm really proud of it. I'm really happy with how it's doing overall. I'm hoping it adjusts well to its new digs. If I missed saying it, it's a Zara Michelle crossed with a red crystal. So it's got a lot of dock block, purpley pink, dark leaf vibes that I'm hoping to see as it grows up. I'm also expecting to see quite a bit of a rounded leaf, which I'll show in the next plant what I mean by that. But this plant has given me a lot of confidence in Anthurium in general. This is the first Anthurium that I was able to successfully rehab, so I'm feeling pretty good about it. I have not given it fertilizer since I rehabbed it, but I think since it's in a bigger pot now, I might give it some soon. I wanted to make sure it was feeling okay in its new situation before fertilizing it, but I'm expecting in the next couple of weeks, I'll hit it with some fertilizer and hopefully I'll see another new leaf soon. Like I previously mentioned, this is what a round dock block leaf is going to look like. This is the Zara Michelle crossed with dock block F2, so it's very similar to that seedling that I just showed off. This leaf is hardening off, but it came in a really dark, really maroon. You can actually see on the back. The petioles are one of my favorite things in the veins on the back. I just love that color. It's one of my favorite things about this plant. It's doing really well. Some of the older leaves are browning, but that's okay. It happens. I have been a lot better about watering it as it grows, so there has been less browning. This one just started to brown a little bit on the edges, and I think that's inevitably going to happen because I don't have high humidity. I can keep it well watered, I can give it fertilizer, but browning is just going to happen with my Anthuriums, and I'm fine with it. The new leaves always are a treat to look at. I mean, this leaf is huge. Oh, it's so nice. I'm really excited to see what the next leaf is going to look like. I think it's going to be even bigger. The lobes up here, they're not fused, but they just kind of grow into each other, which I find interesting. That didn't really happen as much with these. They grew next to each other, but these are actually crossing. And the leaves have gotten much rounder as this matures. So I'm just expecting those characteristics to shine even more with each new leaf, and I'm really excited for it. Next to it growing is a plant that has been pretty sad for a while. This is my Magnificum Silver Blush hybrid. Once I fertilized it and started watering it better, it did give me this nice leaf. It was smaller than the leaves when I first got it, but it's something, you know, it actually came in intact. And then unfortunately, we've got another crispy broken leaf. I don't touch the new leaves when they're coming in, so I'm not really sure what happened here. I kind of think this plant just hates life a little bit, but I'm gonna keep working at it. I mean, if I was able to get a nice leaf out of it like this, there is some potential. Because it's a Magnificum hybrid, it's going to get really big, and I want to see that. That's why I purchased this plant. Plus, with the silver blush in there, I was thinking the veins are gonna be really thick, really silvery, just really gorgeous overall. So I have hope. I have hope for this one. It's not looking its best at the moment, but it is on a good track just with the fact that it's growing and I was able to get something like this out of it. And finally, the last plant on my Anthurium shelf over here is my queen. This one does not look great right now, and I'm a little disappointed because she was doing so well until I repotted her, and then she just started browning. I've kept her pretty well watered. I haven't seen though any new growth with roots other than one here. So, I mean, there is some root growth. I'm thinking maybe this was a little bit big of a container to move it into, but hopefully it's settling in. It's activated a lot of growth points at the base here. So I'm hoping something will happen, because all this browning is making me really sad, because this one in particular was so pretty. I am just starting to think that maybe it just went into shock when I repotted it. It has not done anything for a while, and these new growth points are recent, but it just makes me kind of sad. This was such a pretty plant. I love Queen Anthurium. It's one of my favorites, and I'm hoping I can get it back to being a big, beautiful plant soon. It was just one in my collection that never really crisped up like this until I repotted it. So it is unfortunate. I have been keeping it well watered, fertilizer, I've been on top of it. There's still a bunch at the base of the plant. So I'm just hoping I can get a couple leaves out of this like massive growth spurt that's happening at the bottom here, and that'll solve the problem. But yeah, I'm a little sad. I do want this one to get better soon. I mean, she's still pretty. She's just a little crispy, just a crispy girl. This is one of my newer Anthuriums here. This is a silver blush, a red crystal hybrid, and the cross of those two was really intriguing to me. If you haven't noticed, a lot of the Anthuriums I have are kind of similar in the mother plants, but it's just what I like. I really like silvery veins. I really like the red maroon colors that Dock Block hybrids and red crystals give off. So it's mostly what I collect right now. There are lots of other Anthuriums that I like. I love the dark ones, but they are a bit more pricey. So I just get what I can afford. I get what I think is pretty, and I don't care if they're similar. This one, unfortunately, though it is newer, every time it tries to put out a leaf, it dies in the sheath. So it's tried about 4 times now. I've been keeping it pretty well watered. I have not repotted or fertilized it yet. And I'm thinking because it is a little big to be in a 4-inch pot, I'm probably going to repot it soon, give it some fertilizer, hope that that helps. I was letting it acclimate for a while, which is why I didn't repot it, but I've had it for about a month or 2 now, probably 2. So I think it's time, especially since I can't seem to get it to get a leaf to come out of the sheath and be okay. I think it just needs a little help from me, and I'm happy to do that for it. I have some bigger pots I can give it, and hopefully we'll get more leaves, because this is why I bought the plant. This leaf is gorgeous, and each leaf has sized up pretty dramatically on this plant, so this is a really good specimen. I just want to keep that going. Hopefully I'll be able to do that. I think it just needs a little bit of TLC. Finally, we've made it to my 2 big boys, and they are 2 of my favorites because they're just so pretty. They're just such pretty boys. This is my Bessier Affinity crossed with Magnificum. This lives on a shelf with slightly lower light, doesn't seem to mind at all. Just living its best life and thriving. I love the glow up of these leaves. I love these bunny ear lobes. Oh, they are so stinking cute. I cannot wait for this to be a massive Anthurium. This is one of the ones I'm cheering on the most to just get big and go crazy. I will do pretty much whatever it takes to get that out of this plant. I'm just so excited about it. This is my one Anthurium from Ecuagenera. When I drove out to California last year, I picked this up when I went to Ecuagenera because I went out for a wedding, and it just happened to be 10 minutes down the road from Ecuagenera. I was like, I can't not go. I have to go. And I had to pick up an Anthurium because that's what they're known for. And I'm so happy with this one. It hasn't put out a leaf in a while, but this one took a lot of energy. It was pretty big. So I'm excusing it. It's okay. The new leaves though, they come in this like orangey, almost bubblegum pink. They are just so pretty. They're just incredible. So I'm just very happy with this one. And I can't get over the leaf. Finally, I have my OG Anthurium, and that is my crystallinum. This was my first Anthurium seedling that I got from Wild Roots in 2022. This is the newest leaf. She's gorgeous. Each leaf gets bigger. There are no original leaves left because she was just a tiny baby when I got her, but oh, I love this plant. I would just do anything for this plant. If there was a fire and I could only take 1 or 2 plants, this plant's coming with me. Obviously, cats are coming first. But if I had time to take some plants, this is one of them. I love her so much. I don't care how basic of an Anthurium this is. I don't care that she's common. She's beautiful. There's a reason why she grows so well. She's just a gorgeous plant. So hardy, puts up with occasional underwatering, responds really well to fertilizer, and it's just love and life. So that's all I really have to say about her. I feel like I've talked about her a lot, but I can't get over this plant. I love this plant so much. So that is it for our Anthurium update video. Nutmeg was watching me and watching the plants move around from the floor. It was very cute. I don't know if you heard him, but he was meowing a little bit too. He's just adorable. He has the cutest little squeaky meow. But if you like this video, make sure to give Nutmeg and I a thumbs up down below and subscribe so you don't miss anything from us here on the channel. Thank you for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.